Hi everybody, it's Patty. I'm exhausted. Laying in bed, and I thought I'd do a little YouTube video for y'all. It's been such a long time. I've had a really incredible journey. As many of you know, I was hospitalized, and then I was transported back to St. Louis, Missouri to receive post-operative care with my mom and dad. And not only did I need care, but my animals needed care too. And so my parents were the best people, I think, to help me with all of that fun stuff. Um, I have had one hell of a year, and there's so much to share, but I really wanted to kind of transition to a new YouTube channel. So I'm going to post this video on two channels. It's going to be posted on my 40-year-old vegan channel, but it's also going to be posted on my new YouTube channel, which is called the Natural Law Anarchist. And I think I'll start with that before I get into like some personal shit. Because one thing I want to point out is that I think that I find with a lot of anarchists, and really I think anarchy is the bigger topic. Not that I'm dismissing veganism, because veganism, I think, falls under the umbrella of natural law. But anarchy is important. I've just, since being in Seattle and meeting a lot of people, I have met people that call themselves anarchists, and I kind of question, like, what, how can you call yourself an anarchist? Because apparently, unbeknownst to me, unbeknownst to words. See, I use words, I don't even know if they're right. But unknown to me, I have met people that are like, they call themselves anarcho-communists or anarcho transhumanists, or I don't know, some kind of whatever adjective they want to use. And I really think that anarchy kind of can stand alone, but I have adopted the word natural law anarchist after interviewing who I consider a mentor, Mark Passio. I interviewed him and with my friends on a podcast we have been doing called Free Your Mind Podcast, and he brought up the term natural law anarchy or natural law anarchist, and I really liked it because it is kind of an umbrella term that includes natural law. So natural law is like super duper important here because it is truly that which dictates our action and kind of the realm in which we can act and behave in this physical world. And who knows, maybe natural law extends beyond the physical world, but it definitely is going to be within the confines of the physical reality. And so what is natural law? Well, if you're in the Washington area, I think I'm going to be bringing up the idea of watching Mark Passio's Natural Law seminar. I purchased the 4 DVD set when I was at his Streetwise Spirituality seminar in St. Louis, Missouri, and this was last year. And when I was unpacking, because I've recently moved back, I found my DVDs, and I'm like, dude, we need to totally, and I'm talking, to myself and my dogs because that's who I live with. I'm like, we need to watch this with other people. So I think that's going to be something that is going to be worthwhile for everybody to take in, because I think that natural law is something that is not taught to us. It's kind of like common sense. It's kind of like karma. It's, you don't really have to learn it, you live it. But because of the obfuscation of truth and reality, which is paramount in our society, governments and any kind of hierarchical system they try to come up with their own laws, their own rules. And they'll take something that's common sense and they'll twist it so that it doesn't seem like it's true. Or they'll make something that's a natural law right that people have the capacity of doing. Like, for instance, I have the capacity to defend myself. I have the capacity to smoke a plant. I have the capacity to, walk across the street without, as long as I'm making sure there are no cars. So there's lots of things we can do. But, man's law comes in and they come up with these rules that say, well, you can't do that here because our opinion is such that you cannot do that. It's immoral to do that. So we're going to fine you, and if you don't pay your fine, we're going to incarcerate you. And if you decide to combat us because we're taking you against your will, we can kill you. So basically, man's law is an opinion backed by the gun of the state, and natural law is not. Natural law, again, is what nature dictates as this is going to happen to you if you don't obey nature's laws. So, for instance, if you are, for instance, me, I was rock climbing. I was at an indoor gym, and I wasn't paying attention, or maybe I was paying attention. I was paying attention, but I kind of misstepped. I thought the step below me was closer than it was, and I fell. And lo and behold, gravity took over, and gravity can be a bitch sometimes, but, gravity is part of nature's law. And if you fall, it's going to pull you towards the center of the earth. And what kind of got in between me and the center of the earth was a concrete floor. There were some mats there, but the mats weren't secured together, and I fell between the mats, and my foot totally averted. I mean, my foot was up, bent all the way over, and the sole of my foot was facing up towards my knee. Very, very traumatic injury, which is why I've been gone so long. But anyway, lo and behold, gravity, nature's law, it really kind of came in, and that's the kind of law that I think holds us to truth. Man's law does not. There is no truth in man's law. Man's law, because it is not associated with truth, is inherently immoral. Now, there could be things about man's law that you might say, well, murder is illegal, and man's law says we shouldn't murder. Well, yeah, we shouldn't murder because murder is illegal, but why is it that citizens can't murder, but if you put on a certain uniform, you can go across the country and murder people in a different, country on the other side of some kind of an imaginary line, a border? Why is that okay? See, the thing is that man's law can change, and it's not permanent. Man's law, if you cross a border, an imaginary line, something can be legal on one side of that imaginary line and illegal on the other side of that imaginary line. So that makes inherently, again, man's law immoral. So again, my channel is going to be called Natural Law, because nature is basically the same no matter where you go. I mean, obviously you have different ecosystems, and you might have different types of environments where nature is going to be slightly different, but overall, nature's law is going to be the same, and it's not dictated by a border, and it's basically under kind of what the environment puts forth in front of you, which is truth. That which you can see, touch, and feel, that is truth. And this is really important that we start seeing what is true. And so why couple this with anarchy? Well, anarchy, when you break the word down, an means without, and archons means rulers. So simplistically, anarchy means without rulers. So I've talked about anarchy before. I don't believe that any human can appoint themselves to be a ruler. I think rulers in general are immoral, and all men are equal. And I don't think any man or woman or cat or dog or cow or pig should be put on a pedestal or worshipped or given certain privileges that someone else does not have. That is immoral as well. So natural law anarchy, I think, goes hand in hand. And that's really what I want to be focusing this YouTube channel on, and possibly turning it into my own podcast. And I'd love to interview lots of anarchists out there, and people that really have a keen eye on expressing truth, so that more and more people can hear this message, because we are inundated with people getting mixed messages, and we need to stop that, because it's destroying the planet. It is causing a lot of suffering, not only in human life, but in animal life. And this is kind of where veganism falls underneath the umbrella of natural law, because I am a vegan, and I believe that. It's not that I believe, but I know that animals suffer when they are killed. And it just makes sense, right? If you're going to kill somebody and then eat them, there's probably going to be some suffering involved. And so that is immoral. But what makes it even more immoral, if you can have different gradations of morality, which I really don't think you can, but what makes it even worse is that humans don't need animal products. In fact, for my own personal studies, I am a human physiology. The camera stopped on me and I had to unload this, and apparently my memory is low. But anyway, I was mentioning that I'm a human physiology professor. And so what makes killing animals for food really immoral is that physiologically we don't need animals in our diet. It's much healthier. We do much better when we don't have a diet based on animal products. Animal protein in particular is very inflammatory for humans. It's hard on our kidneys. We have actually very low protein requirements, and all of this bullshit about us needing protein, especially protein from animal sources, it's all, co-opted by the meat and dairy industries, who are in bed with the government because, of lobbying. Another reason governments are immoral. Ooh, it's 2:22. See, I always look at the clock and then I see triple numbers. 2:22 is pretty important. And so veganism falls under natural law, because people that eat a lot of animal products typically end up with not so great health. They get a lot of what are called or referred to as chronic diseases when you go by the medical allopathic nomenclature of how they like to categorize, which is simply, usually chronic inflammation. And the longer the inflammation has occurred and the symptoms have been suppressed by allopathic drugs, the more severe the disease becomes, until one day you wake up with a heart attack or cancer or some other kind of deadly disease. So again, veganism, and when I say veganism, I'd like to not just say straight up, just don't eat any animal products. I mean, yeah, do that because it's more moral than to eat animals, but do a healthy. Right, so once again, I don't know if I'm running out of space or what's going on with my phone, but I'm just gonna make this pretty short. So follow a healthy vegan diet, a diet based on whole plant foods, preferably in a raw state, because those are more energetically viable as far as transferring energy to us. And they typically have more fiber, which keeps us more clean, and they have more phytonutrients, which do a plethora of things metabolically and biochemically in our bodies. So a raw vegan diet is probably the best. Juicing is great, but really whole plant foods are the best. And so that's what I'm going to talk about on this YouTube channel and on my other one. And I'll probably double post these videos for a short while, but slowly starting. I really want to put everything over in my Natural Law Anarchy channel. So I'm still alive. There's going to be plenty more videos, and I'm going to try to keep them going on a regular basis, depending on how my schedule allows it. And hopefully, I'll be able to do things like record Skype conversations or other types of conversations with fellow anarchists and vegans and natural law enthusiasts. So be looking out for more videos to come. And I love you all, and I hope you all have a wonderful day, and seek truth, seek love, and be good. Bye.